There is magic in minimalizing. I know everybody's downsizing, they're getting rid of stuff, they're getting organized. We're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by House Call Pro, which is the premier software for service professionals in minimalizing the background tasks, which are admin tasks of your business. So if you want to keep track of all of your to-dos and your customer upsells and your scheduling and the dispatching of the jobs and the customer follow-up and the invoicing and the one-click credit card processing, House Call Pro can do it for you. Check it out at housecallpro.com/Angela. There's somebody there that will walk you on a demo to see if it's even right for your business, and they'll show you how to use it. I know! housecallpro.com/Angela. All right, on to today's show. Super exciting guest, back by popular demand. This is Laura Souders from Healthier Spaces Organizing. She's also the author of the book Organizing Her Life, and she's a professional speaker and a professional organizer. And she's joining us today because last time she was here, she shared with us a snippet about how she bought a hoarder's house and was like, I got this. And I was like, how do you got this? So she's back on our show to share with us today how she started minimalizing and what this process was all about. Please help me welcome Laura Souders.
So I was a teacher for 18 years, and I had wanted to get out of the profession for a long time, for probably 17 years. And when I finally made the steps to leave the teaching profession, it was really tough. It was something people didn't do, and I had a hard time with it, understanding why I needed to do that and needed to leave the profession. And when I made the choice to leave the profession, I was making the choice to leave a nice, secure job and with benefits. And so we had to sell our home and downsize. And in the process of finding a smaller home, the one we could afford, and with me starting a new job, we bought a house that was owned by hoarders. And we bought it contents and all as is.
Oh,
So I
wow.
tell I tell people the worst house I've ever seen is what I bought and made my own. So they can't scare me with anything I see in someone else's house.
I love your story. I haven't read your book yet. Now I got to go read it because I want to hear
Yeah.
you bought a hoarder's house. Like, what on earth possessed you to do that?
Well, my husband was a builder. So I mean, our story is so way crazier than just the hoarder house. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So he was a builder and the housing market was not going well. So he decided to go back to school to be a teacher. And as he was going back to school to be a teacher, he was just at the very end. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I'm out. I'm just finishing up this year. And we were at the beginning of a school year, but I said, I'm finishing up this school year and then I'm done. But when I quit, he didn't have a job. He didn't have a teaching
Oh,
job. So now we have two of us that don't have permanent full-time jobs with benefits. And
yikes.
we decided that we had to sell our house because we had this big model home that we had bought when he was building. And we really couldn't afford the payments, what we needed, the taxes and the
Mm-hmm.
upkeep and everything. So we decided we need a smaller house. And I kept saying, I really didn't need that big of a house anyway. We can make anything a home. So we find this house and it fits the budget. It's bank owned and we're looking at it, but the ceilings are caving in. I mean, every single thing had to be replaced except for the bricks on the outside. And even some of those had to be replaced, but the
Wow.
roof, the windows, the doors, and then it was hoarded, it was packed. And I wanted the people they had an executor, and I wanted him to donate stuff because a lot of it was clothing, like racks of clothing that would be in a clothing store were actually full racks here. And some of them still had either dry cleaning tags on it or brand new tags on it. And I'm like, there's dishes and all sorts of things, that furniture that can be donated. And they said, you can't tell him what to do. And I said, well, what's he going to do? And they said, he's going to get a dumpster and just haul it all out. And I said, please don't. Like, how do I tell him what to do? And they said,
Right.
you buy it yourself, contents and all as is. And I said, all right, we'll do it. My husband's going, no, no. So he had the background to do all of the repairs and all of the remodeling, really, in what we needed to do. And I had the ambition to go through everything and really to get things donated, recycled, or sold somewhere. And we used some of the money that we sold things from the house to help us to buy windows or doors or keep us moving along and stuff. So And we found just amazing things, and amazing things happened with the house. It was just, it's really a whole huge story of like what happened, we found in the house, and what was going on and stuff. But it was interesting because when I first decided I was going to quit teaching, everyone said, "Oh my God, you're crazy. What is wrong with you? Why are you leaving? This is, people don't do this, you don't have small children at home. Why are you doing this? Is something, are you sick?" You know. And then when we said we're leaving this beautiful house and we're going to buy this house and it smells and there's piles of, we don't know what it is, and probably biohazards, people are like, "What is wrong with you now? Why would you move into this in this small, lot of land? And this is horrible. You were in a beautiful house." And so no one understood what we were doing and everyone thought we were crazy. But then afterwards, when I kept saying, "I'm so happy, this is exactly what I wanted, a smaller house, and I love my job, I love my life." And they were like, "Can we talk? I'd like to talk to you about how I could do that. How could I make these changes? Like, how did you make that leap of faith?" And they kept doing it. And at first I thought people were being nice. I was like, "Oh, we just threw up the cards and we waited to see where they fell." And they were like, "No, seriously, can we sit down and talk? I want to explain what I'm going through and how I want to change things in my life." And I was like, "Oh, they're serious." And then I thought, you know what? This is something I need to write about because I'm talking about it so much, about how I made that change. It wasn't all physical. It was a lot of mental talk to myself and figuring out really what's important.
Well, what's interesting about what you're saying is not so much that you just decided we need a cheaper house, but you bought back your freedom and you paid whatever price you had to pay, whether it was going through the hoarding or rebuilding the house or dealing with the emotions of your family and friends that did or did not support you. You went through whatever you had to go through in order to buy back your freedom and to find that peace and harmony in your life that the teaching wasn't bringing you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can I write the stuff down you're saying? You are so good.
No, you are
You are
good. This is what is
amazing.
so impressive about what you're saying is, I mean, I just hear you one bit of wisdom after the next, after the next. I mean, you went from hoarding to hope. And now you're teaching that to other people who have the same fears that, oh, what am I supposed to do with my life? And yes, it's really easy to cast stones until they see that somebody was willing and
Yeah.
courageous enough to make those decisions, to go through the family of, saying, "What on earth are you doing? You're crazy," and all that stuff. And then to see that you have found a place of balance and a place of hope. And now they're like, okay, well, I made fun of you and I'm sorry. How do I get what you have?"
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
was
that's
amazing when
huge.
my book came out, how many people were like coming out of the woodwork. They were like, "Can we talk? Can we meet? Can we?" I just can't believe all of the stuff you went through. And it was really explaining like my mindset. How did I get from, and I was terrified. First, like I said, 17 years I wanted to quit, but my parents were both teachers. I'd come from the education field. It's safe to be there. And I kept thinking, what am I doing? Where am I going to go if I don't do this? What else is there for me? And I think a lot of people are trapped in that. I have to stay in this because I'm here and I'm part of the way through in my career. I've already, it's not horrible and people just put up with it. And then that's what I felt like for a long time. And then right before I started one of my school years, she's like a very close friend and has been like a sister to me for since we've been young. She kept saying, I would do different things to try to make my school year better. Like I'd say, "This is how I'm going to be positive this year. This is how I'll reward myself, or I'll get through. I have to just get through to June." And she said, "Let's talk about you quitting." And I was like, "Oh my God, like, don't say that. I can't do that. I can't do that." And she was like, "Why not?" And it just planted that seed of me saying, and then once I heard her say that, I was like, "There's no way I can't quit." Now I see what's holding me back. And it's me. It is me holding me back because we can downsize. We can make this work. And I'm a hard worker. It's not that I didn't want to work. I just wanted to do something different. It's also me trying to figure out what is that thing, because I thought it was organizing before I quit. But then I thought, you know what? If you told me I could be a cruise director, I may take that job instead of teaching. Like I have no idea. Is that really what I want? Or do I just want out? It was kind of, I equate it to a bad boyfriend. You're like, "Oh, this guy looks really good, but is he really better? Or do I just not want the other one?" So it was just really a lot of soul searching to get to where the place where I needed to be to make that jump, that leap.
Well, this was so amazing. Tell our listeners where they can go to find you.
You can find me at healthierspaces.com. You can find more information there, and you can also buy my book at Amazon. Here's the cover, Organizing Her Life, and you can buy it on Amazon.
Alrighty, isn't that a fantastic story? I'm super excited when I hear stuff like this. There are two people, her husband and her, they both have a specific set of skills, and they're like, we got this. And they bought the hoarder's house and they renovated it and made it their home. This is hope for hoarders. I love it. All right, so there is magic in minimalizing, and now you know how to do it. I'm going to leave links in the show notes so that you can check out her book, so that you can learn more about her, so that you can hire her for a professional organizer, and all of those things. All right, if you found this helpful, please pass it on to a friend. If we've earned your subscription, please subscribe. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.